So guys, the crypto markets are pumping right now. Bitcoin just reclaimed 110,000. We are seeing some key events happening this week with the Fed right before the huge meeting with the Fed determining rate cuts. We also saw some positive sentiment with Trump negotiations with China. Overall, really good stuff. Going to be taking more care tomorrow. And then on top of that, we saw some positive sentiment with Trump and Elon, which is causing a lot of green in the markets, guys, which is great to see. Right now, I want to talk about exactly what is currently happening. USDT dominance breaking down, Bitcoin dominance shooting up, and a lot of people anticipating either altcoin season or potentially capitulations before we start to see the huge rip up. So I want to keep you guys updated with all that information, what's coming out, and exactly what you need to be aware of. But if you're new to my channel, check out the rest of my content and keep you guys updated on the day-to-day events, price action on Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, and exactly what you need to be aware of to make those crazy gains, guys. Right now, Bitcoin's pumping, positive news sentiment, big key events happening this week. With all that being said, though, I want to give you guys a full market update, what you need to be aware of moving into the next few weeks, and what is anticipated. So let's jump into it. So guys, as I said, Bitcoin just reclaimed that 110,000 region. We've been seeing some crazy rip-ups in the last few hours. Ethereum also has been seeing a little bit of green, reclaiming that 2,700 zone. And overall, this is looking quite bullish. We were anticipating specific zones like this with Justin Bennett's predictions based off of specific imbalances and overall where we could be headed. And right now, it's pretty much just coming into fruition. As a result, guys, we're seeing altcoins pump up quite significantly. You can see the total 3 chart is slowly making a reclaim, but are we going to be seeing more deviations before we rip up? That is the big question. Bitcoin dominance right now is reclaiming that 65% zone, and I'm sure it's going to start busting right through and going to be reclaiming that 66%, possibly even higher. This is where a lot of people, guys, are anticipating when is Bitcoin dominance going to peak out. And when are altcoins going to get the liquidity that they need to shift over? Benjamin Cohen talks about this, how everyone's calling for the end of Bitcoin dominance and that altcoins are about to start rallying super hard. But Bitcoin dominance practically just reclaimed all of its losses and is still continuing super hard. Now, USDT dominance, you can see, is crashing down right now. Overall, altcoin crypto investors in general are moving out of stable, slowly reinvesting back into Bitcoin, altcoins, Ethereum, etc. So this is really showing you guys where liquidity is shifting, and it's really based off of exactly what we're currently seeing with the price action on Bitcoin and Ethereum, news events, macroeconomic events, and overall exactly how the markets are performing. Now, we have some big key events happening this week, guys, that we talked about yesterday. I don't want to run all the way back through every single event that's going to happen, but the May CPI inflation data is going to be really big, and the May PPI inflation data as well. And the biggest thing from this, guys, is this marks the last week of inflation data before the June Fed meeting, determining if we're going to be seeing rate cuts or if we're not going to be seeing rate cuts. Trump has been talking about this, and at the end of the day, we won't truly know until that meeting happens. So right now, we have been seeing a little bit of green due to some positive sentiment and positive news that have been coming around the trade war with China and the US, and also, a little bit of positive sentiment between Trump and Elon after that huge fight that we saw last week. So right now, Letter talks about how US and China talks reportedly lasted around 6 hours. Goes to show that there is something in the works. Chinese officials have left while Besant, Lutnick, and Greer remain. Negotiations will resume at 10 a.m. tomorrow in London. So hopefully we're getting somewhere with this. If we get super positive news out of the China and US talks, guys, this is going to be super big for the markets. And believe me, if we have an update with that, I'm going to let you guys know. And it's really going to show on the price action with Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, and everything else. On top of that, we saw President Trump say he is not getting rid of his Tesla or Starlink at the White House. Trump also called Starlink a good service, and he wishes Elon Musk well. If you guys aren't aware, Trump put a Tesla in front of the White House, and he said he was going to sell it, but I guess now he's pulling back on it. As a result, we saw Tesla's stock surge over 5%. Since Trump said he's not getting rid of the Tesla. This is really going to show that they really have an effect on the markets and how assets are really affected with price action. And then from there, guys, we just saw a little bit more information coming out around Trump and overall some, economic events that are having an effect on not only, imports to trade and, other assets like gold and a few other different things. So right now, guys, all this information is super important. And as we close out the week, is going to let us know if we have more positive sentiment or if we're going to be having negative sentiment. Now, with the price action on Ethereum, we talked about this a few days ago. Justin Bennett had a pretty much target with a specific zone of liquidity. And basically, guys, we deviated a little bit, swept out those shorts, and then from there we started to rip up. And we talked about this, like how I said, about 2 days ago, whenever ETH was pretty much in that range, and it looked really clean. And right now, guys, it is pretty much doing exactly what we thought it was going to do. Now, is this continuation going to keep on happening? We honestly do not know, but so far right now it is getting closer to reclaiming that zone, and we're already above that 2700 region with Ethereum, going to show, guys, that the price action is looking quite strong, but we still need to keep up with the news events that are going to be having an effect on price action. Crypto Mission now talks about how we're kind of getting back in the old game with Bitcoin and how it moves first, which means then that ETH and Bitcoin pairs will have some pain, which means deviations, guys, could potentially be happening. Bitcoin stabilizes, money rotates towards Ethereum. That's kind of the way money flows if you aren't aware of how money flows in the crypto space. Remind yourself though, ETH has been having an upwards move of 50% against Bitcoin in the previous month. That's a strong signal for the markets. Therefore, it's relatively normal that we're having consolidation of more than a month around these regions for Ethereum. I assume that we'll be taking liquidity somewhere lower on the ETH and Bitcoin chart, or just repricing based on the move of Bitcoin. And that the area between 0.215 and 0.0235 Bitcoin is a good area to accumulate if we deviate back to that region. I do think that we're going to be having a strong surge on Ethereum once Bitcoin stabilizes. So this is, guys, where you got to have an understanding on multiple charts, the ETH and Bitcoin chart, how money flows and kind of where it goes. At the I didn't mean to run right there, but overall, guys, money moves from Bitcoin. After that, everything stabilizes, moves out into Ethereum, and then from there we can see money start to flow back into altcoins and all the assets that me and you are invested in. So get ready for a little bit of a little bit of a bumpy ride, a little bit of volatility in the market, because we need Bitcoin to stabilize, and then from there everything can rotate into Ethereum and in turn our altcoins as well. Now, Benjamin Cohen gives his perspective around Bitcoin dominance, because everyone keeps saying that we've peaked out for Bitcoin dominance and that altcoins are about to get the rally that they need. And that's just not the case. That's why on this channel I keep you guys updated with the day-to-day events. But not that many people even watch the channel because they don't care about the day-to-day events. They care about altcoins and someone talking about XRP and this and that and other garbage. But anyways, Bitcoin dominance is really going to let us know, guys, whenever we peaked out and whenever altcoins are going to get the liquidity that they need. But Bitcoin dominance has pretty much reclaimed that 64, getting into that 65% zone, and has pretty much returned back all of the losses that it saw. So Bitcoin dominance has nearly reclaimed all of its losses. People keep thinking that they're contrarians by calling the top on dominance and calling for alt season, but the real contrarian view is to just keep assuming dominance will go higher, which is somewhat true. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin has a point where it is going to see a little bit of a peak. That zone whenever everyone has been accumulating so much Bitcoin and everyone starts making so much money with Bitcoin that they start rotating, they get bored, they start moving into Ethereum, and then Ethereum starts to see its rally, start to outperforming, and then from there we start to see it dumb down into altcoins. And this is just the case, guys, for multiple cycles. At the end of the day, we do not know what we're going to be peaking out at. 66%, 67%, 70%, 80%. I do not know, but I'm going to keep you guys updated with how everything moves and exactly when I think we're peaking out. I have not said once on this channel that Bitcoin dominance is peaking out, because it has just been proving super strong. If you guys zoom out and actually look at the chart, you can see that this thing has just been rallying. Now, we did see a little bit of a return back here, but at the end of the day, guys, we haven't actually seen a huge rally and a huge deviation for Bitcoin dominance in a good matter of time. So this is where you need to have a long-term perspective and understand exactly what matters and what doesn't, and don't get caught up in someone just telling you that altcoin season is already here. Now, CryptoCon talks about how no Bitcoin cycle top is in sight right now, and it's just pretty much based off of previous moves, what we've seen in previous cycles with that cycle top, the local high and support regions. And right now, guys, we're pretty much in that support region, getting closer to the local high that we previously saw for Bitcoin, and then move further into the cycle top. And this is where everyone has different perspectives, but whenever you start to really zoom out and then correlate multiple multiple other charts to exactly what we're currently seeing, then you can have an understanding on potentially what we could be seeing in the next few weeks. And overall, how, a lot of people are saying that, they're comparing and still making the 2021 end of cycle comparisons, and overall declaring the death of alt season. And overall, he says, we know how the story goes, and it's so true, guys. A lot of people are going to get sidelined, and I hope you're not someone that gets sidelined. I hope you're someone that keeps up with this information, understands how liquidity shifts, so that you can make those crazy gains like me, which moves us into my portfolio today. On the 24-hour, a lot of assets are pumping 9%, 12%, 10%. A lot of assets are just moving with the news events that we're seeing, but I still expect sideways price action, not some huge, rip up in the next week or so. Now, if we have huge positive news around Trump and the trade between the trade war between the U.S. and China, on top of that, we have talks about the Fed and, they might want to cut rates, and potentially we might see a little bit of, green in the markets, volatility. But when is all that going to happen? This is where you got to start keeping up with multiple different perspectives of price action that you're currently seeing and everything else in between. So swiping everything to the side, guys, that is currently what is going on. We have some big key events happening this week with the Fed that is going to let us know exactly if we're going to be seeing rate cuts in June. And then on top of that, guys, we're seeing a little bit of bullish sentiment with Trump and the US and China and the trade war that's taking place. Price action around Ethereum and Bitcoin is rallying super hard right now based off of what we've seen in previous cycles and specific zones and overall areas of liquidity. It really goes to show that, Bitcoin needs to stabilize a little bit more to then slowly return a lot of gains into Ethereum, and then from there altcoins can get their time in the sun as well. But Bitcoin still hasn't even seen nowhere near a cycle top based off of previous zones in previous cycles. So this is super bullish right now, guys, but you need to be keeping up with the day-to-day because everything pumps and everything dumps, and if you're not aware of this stuff, you don't know what's happening. And on this channel, I keep you guys updated with all that info. So if you're new to my channel, go and check out the rest of my content. Keep you guys updated with the day-to-day information, price action on Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, exactly what you need to be aware of to make those crazy gains. Guys, big key events happening this week. Keep up to date with the price action on this channel. I'm going to keep you guys updated with all that info. I made some recent videos talking about the altcoins you need to be looking at, some biggest mistakes that crypto investors make, and a few other videos that are very beneficial for you to go watch. So go check out those videos and make sure you guys stay up to date with all my content. Let me know what you guys think. Drop me a comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think of my perspective. Let me know what you think altcoin season is going to start. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, just drop them down below. And hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.